In July 2005, 25 Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian elders gathered in Juneau, Alaska to speak and listen and meet with one another, to tell stories about their lives, their clans, their nations, and their land. Stories about embracing family and community wellness. The year before, these same elders had met to agree upon a common set of traditional tribal values. Those values were then taken to the 69th Annual Delegates Assembly of the tribe and unanimously adopted. They are as follows: discipline and obedience to the traditions of our ancestors, respect for self, elders, and others, respect for nature and property, patience. Pride in family, clan, and traditions is found in love, loyalty, and generosity. Be strong in mind, body, and spirit. Humor. Hold each other up. Listen well and with respect. Speak with care. We are stewards of the air, land, and sea. Reverence for our Creator. Live in peace and harmony. Be strong and have courage. These are the stories they told.
I'm Erma Lawrence. I am a Haida, and my Haida name is Aljul. It was my grandmother's name, Grandma Branovich in Kasan. And for many years I've been busy with the Haida language, and it's now 33 years that I've been working on it. My family came from a little village of Kasan. My parents spoke Haida fluently, and it was very natural for me to talk Haida, and English was also very natural for us as we were growing up in Kasan. And just a little bit of history about the Haida Nation itself. Linguists and historians, anthropologists, they tell us that the Haida language is older than the Hebrew language. And they trace us back 15,000 years. And at that time, the Tlingits, the Haidas, the Athabascans, and the Eaks. Eaks is somewhere in the Gulf of Alaska. And like I say, I've worked with Dr. Michael Krause for years. And Michael Krause himself was the fourth person to talk Eak, and he taught those three people to the point now that a lot of Eaks talk their language. And I just happened to come across that special doings on TV, and there was Dr. Michael Krause sitting there smiling, and a big party going on. And he looked so proud that he was always concerned about the languages all over Alaska. And he told us in 1972 that the Haida language, he was concerned about the Haida language too, and was very anxious to do what he can for the Haida language. And so when Dr. Krause thought the Haida language was dead, there was one Haida girl up there in the University of Fairbanks that said Haida is not dead. That was Genevieve Sobolev. And Walter Sobolov's wife at that time, she said, the Haida language is not dead and I can prove it to you. So she calls down to Ketchikan. Some of you remember Vesta Johnson. She was our tape librarian, and she did a wonderful job. And for a while we thought we lost the tapes because of a change of staff and officers. But now we have it in safekeeping at the University of Alaska Southeast in Ketchikan. A person can go there, and you can go into the library. You could sit there and study the tapes, but you can't take them out naturally. So that's what we've done, and we're really proud of that. And so I think that's about it from that side of the story. The little story I'm going to tell is when the killer whales fed the people. That's the title of it. And I recorded it from Christine Idenso. She was what you call, she spoke 3 languages. What do you call that? Trilingual, yeah. And she was very easy to work with. She was just a wonderful person. And in fact, it's in a little book. I think I brought it, I'm not too sure. But anyway, in Haida country, a long, long time ago, it's almost similar to the story that was told before. There was a great famine in the Haida, among the Haida people. And among the people, there was one chief who could see into the future, I guess. And he told his people, there's some food coming to us. We don't know who is bringing it, but someone is going to feed us. There was no food whatsoever. And one day, as they looked out into the sea, or way out in the ocean, they saw what they thought was foreigners coming on a sailboat, yeah. And as it got closer and closer, and these objects became larger and larger, and they were afraid. They were really afraid of it. And as it came quite close, they realized it was not the big foreign sailboats. It was killer whales coming, whole big bunch of it. I don't know what you call a bunch of whales, a pod or something like that. And so as it came closer, the killer whales made a real swift shot towards the beach where all the Haidas were congregating, hoping that they would get some food. But the chief told them, if you want any of that food, have your kettles ready. Have it clean. If it's not clean, you will not get. And this was a lot of herring. The killer whales would, push it up to the beach. And probably it was a natural thing for killer whales to do. That's what my personal feeling is about it. They were doing it for themselves, but the people thought, it was really for them. And so the people with their kettles, they filled up their buckets, and there was one woman among them she was lazy, and she didn't care if her pot was clean or not. So she went down, and it is said that the killer whales did not give her any herring. So she gets excited, and she ran back up to her community house at that time, and she was rinsing her kettle in a hurry. But when she got back down there, killer whales were gone, and the food was gone too. And at that time, Christine Edenso, who was a Haida that lived in Craig most of her life, but then moved into Ketchikan, she said, this story is similar to a Bible story. I think it's in the New Testament, about the 5 foolish virgins and the wise ones. They had lamp in their oil, and they could go into. There was a big wedding party, and they could go into the party because they had oil in their lamp, and the 5 were. She said this story is similar to that Bible story, and so of course the moral of the story is always be ready, always be prepared, and not to be lazy. I will just say a few words in Haida too. So, Hatala is dalang an kil lagen, atlen gut ang katskut, gin lahu ijeng, gin la sleo ijeng, gut an it unsits, gut ilasen ang gusus and wide atlen gudan ang ijeng. At si singa wide kil lagen, Tlingit Hansen kilagen. And this is the end of my story.
Alisaya King Andas Lukunana Digula Digwa Wagina Nuya Daskit Alun Kilkana Digula Digwa Yahuwah lihiyai, Yahuwah lihiyai, Yahuwah lihiyai, Yahuwah lihiyai, Yahuwah lihiyai, Yahuwah lihiyai,